What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you can get notified immediately as soon as any new content comes out. You'll be the first one to know. So without further ado, let's get into this blog. So recently it's been announced we're going to have Derek Chisora versus Joseph Parker. One of my previous videos, we talked about the FaceTime little contact they were having. Derek Chisora was in the gym. Parker, I think, was just waking up because he's out in New Zealand or whatever. So, so this fight is going to go down. I believe it's going to go down in May. It's either the 1st or the 8th of May. I think it might be the 1st of May, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, but it's going to go down. And there's a bit of contention with this whole thing now because it's going to be actually on a pay-per-view. Now, if those of you who know about the fight when it was supposed to happen, I think 2019, that bout was meant to be pay-per-view as well because it had Taylor versus Prograis, which was WBSS final, which was it was O2 Arena. I was there live because I really was interested to see Parker Chisora. It turned out to be Chisora versus Price in the end. But anyway, so that fight is going down now. It's going to be going down in London, and recently the part of the rest of the card has been announced. And just to run you through a few of them, it's going to have Katie Taylor versus Natasha Jonas, which is going to be a big fight. Going to be a very entertaining female fight. I think that's being fought at lightweight now, 135 pounds. We're also going to have an interesting one in Dimitri Bivol versus Craig Spider Richards. Craig Spider Richards is a British fighter. Good fighter. I don't think he's been much above British level, but he's going to get his chance to fight a world champion in Dimitri Bivol. So, and we're also going to have the very controversial, some love him, some hate him, we're going to have Chris Eubank Jr. versus Marcus Morrison. And Marcus Morrison, I think he's been out of the ring for a very long time as well, trained by Joe Gallagher. So that's the news of the card. That's sort of the fights that have been added to it. And there's a bit of controversy over it because a lot of people, us over here in Britain, we're not really looking to pay for fights. And obviously this is a fight where there is no world title on the line in any of these fights, I think, apart from Bivol versus Richards. But in terms of card here, this is going to be pay-per-view on Sky Sports Box Office, and it's going to be on the Zone if you're in international territories like America. I've got the Zone here in UK, but I don't think I'm going to get it as part of my subscription, but the USA and other territories, they'll probably get it. So what do you guys think about this? Because for me personally, I think in and of itself, it might be an entertaining card. I think Chisora, he brings the heat, he brings the action every time he fights. You're going to get value for money out of his fights because he comes in and just storms forward and he looks to knock out his opponent. At the end of the day, he brings the heat, he brings the war in every fight. So you're going to get entertainment, you're going to get value out of that. He's not a world champion. He's sort of on the fringes. He's down in the pecking order. Joseph Parker, he's a fighter, he's been a world champion, decent fighter, won his last fight against Junior Farr. So I think that fight is going to be entertaining, it is going to be interesting. Some will question whether it's pay-per-view worthy, and I think, even myself, if I had the choice, I'd rather not do a pay-per-view for it. But I understand that with the type of money these guys want, and Chisora is popular, so he brings money to the table. He's got 10 losses on his resume, but he does bring eyes to the sport, and he does bring a fan base with him. So he generates money. He even got more money than Usyk when they fought. So that should tell you something about him. He's a bit of he's not a cash cow, but he's a guy who's a high-paid fighter. So I can understand when you want to pay boxers like that, you kind of have to put it on pay-per-view. The women's fight, Taylor versus Jonas, that should be a very good fight as well. Both boxed each other in the amateurs. Taylor got the better of that, and she'll be looking to do the same again. Jonas got a very close decision in her last fight. She was very unlucky not to get the nod against Terry Harper there. Many people thought she done more than enough to win the fight, so she could have been a world champion even in her last fight. So she'll be chomping at the bit now to get at Katie Taylor, and this is a fantastic opportunity to become like an undisputed champion for Jonas, and it's a good chance for Katie Taylor. But really, Jonas, she's the one now who'll be chomping at the bit, because she'll be thinking, well, last time I should have got it. This time I've got a great opportunity. And when Katie Taylor won her last fight, Jonas was there in the Sky team in the punditry, and she jumped in and sort of photobombed Katie Taylor. So I'm sure that fight will be a good one as well. And with Bivol versus Richards, I think that's going to be entertaining either way it goes. I mean, in and of that one in and of itself is not really pay-per-view worthy, I don't think, but I think it'll be entertaining, because Richards, he's got to go for it, because it's his opportunity, it's his world title fight, so he's got to go for it. And Bivol, he's been out for a long time, so again, both, he's more classy. You'd expect Bivol to win, but again, it might be a bit entertaining, I'm hoping, and stuff. And there's a few fights on there. I mean, I think for me personally, I don't think it really is like a pay-per-view worthy card, but at the same time, I think there's been a lot of these cards where we have paid for them, and in America they pay like $80 or whatever for these cards, and a lot of them have been stinkers. A lot of them have been quite bad. So it's one of them where ultimately, yeah, I'd rather not do a pay-per-view, but at the end of the day, it could be worse. We could be paying £50 instead of £20 or £25. So even from that perspective, we could be paying like £80 or whatever they pay in other territories. So I mean, of course, as fans, I'd like a freebie. I'd like it to be free, but at the same time, it definitely could be worse. And I think it's a card where there is going to be action, there is going to be explosiveness, and there is going to be a lot of entertainment in there. I think some of the fights might surprise us. And yeah, it'd be good to see Chris Eubank Jr. again. He's going to get, of course, criticism for who he's fighting in Mark Morrison, because he's not really a big name and he's not a big achiever. But you got to understand, in a sense, Chris Eubank Jr. is trying to work his way back into the fold. He's been off for a long time and all that. So he's looking to have a sort of warm-up thing and get himself back into the fold. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this card. Do you think it's pay-per-view worthy? Do you think it should be free? What do you think about the winners and losers? And yeah, until next time, it's MKO Pugilism, over and out. Catch you on the next one.